Hi there, friends. I'm Vasco. I'm part of the team behind the first global Scrum Master Summit. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from all over the globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit and the numeral 21. That's bit.ly/SMSUMMIT21. We have 7 amazing keynotes or more, as we are still organizing the conference as I record this, and 8 tracks that feature people like you and thought leaders sharing their insights and knowledge to help you become an awesome Scrum Master. So once again, check it out at bit.ly/SM Summit 21. That's all lowercase, all one word, SM Summit and the numeral 21. I'll see you on the virtual conference floor. All right, now on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Evelien Acun-Roos. Hi, Evelien. Welcome back.
Hi, Vasco. Thank you for having me.
So, Evelien, on Tuesdays, we talk teams and we talk about some of the patterns that they sometimes develop that lead to problems. But before we dive into that, share with us what might have been one of the most influential books in your career as a Scrum Master.
Well, there are 2 books that I want to share. So there's one book, it's Coaching Agile Teams by Lyssa Adkins. And I think that was one of the first professional agile books that I read. So I was at this certain point where I did not experience a lot of agile environments, so it was not common to the agile environment. And I think this book really got me to understand the role of the agile coach more and what is expected from you as an agile coach.
And you said you had 2 books. What was the second book?
Yeah, so I think Coaching Agile Teams was a good one because it was my first, or like my first one for my profession as an agile coach. I think the second one is Training from the Back of the Room. So I read that book when I was already like a few years working in the agile environment, and you know how that goes as a Scrum Master or an agile coach. You start teaching and you start explaining what Scrum is all about. And with that book really gave me insights on, okay, you're teaching, that's nice, but why are we doing it this way? Why are we not doing it that way? How can you improve? And I think one of the most eye-opening things about Training from the Back of the Room is, okay, so there's a reason behind why we do it this way. Let's go a little bit back in history when, like I said, I've been in the agile environment for like 11 years, been teaching a lot. And at first, when you start teaching, you just copy what your colleagues do, right? So we have nice games, we have nice structures in our training. So you just copy what they are doing. And at a certain moment, I got to know Training from the Back of the Room. And then I saw, okay, so this is why we're doing it this way. So this is why it works. So this is why people are involved and engaged. And then I got to know the brain science behind it, and then it all made sense. And currently I'm using that or those brain science principles in my talks, in my workshops, and in my trainings, of course. So there are 2 important books in 2 different periods of my life, or different timings in my life.
That's a great recommendation. I'm not sure that Training from the Back of the Room has been recommended before, so that's definitely a great recommendation. Thank you for that. And as you said, as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, we are constantly training and helping others learn new ways of working. So having that as you said, the science of learning behind how we teach is a very important part of our job. So now we turn our attention to teams and how sometimes they become their own worst enemies. Evelien, we want to hear a story of a team. Tell us a little bit about the context so that we understand, was it a small team, big team, and so on. But walk us through that process, that pattern that slowly developed over time, and walk us through that development, like how it started and what you observed, so that we may understand how those anti-patterns in the teams develop that, may even lead to the team being disbanded or destroyed.
Yeah, this was one question I had to think very hard about the self-destructiveness of a team, and I thought of an example that I have from a bank, and we had a team working in the online environment, so working with digital and the apps and that kind of stuff, and there was no Scrum Master, so I was like coaching multiple teams, so I was not really there. Now, let me rephrase that. There was a team at a bank and they did not have a dedicated Scrum Master. So we asked the team, what should we do? The team came up with the idea to have a rotating Scrum Master. And we went with that. So we rotated the Scrum Master like every 2 sprints. And for me at that time, it seemed like a good solution. But what I know now is that you can get so much value out of the Scrum Master role, um, and that it probably is not helping if you rotate it every 2 sprints.
So what happened to that team? Like, what was the thing that happened because of the rotation that led you today to that conclusion that we really should try to avoid that?
The Scrum team I'm talking about was not continuously improving. So the Scrum Master role was really seen as the Jira secretary or the admin, or yeah, like a less valuable role. And we did not get as much as we wanted out of the Scrum Master role because we kept rotating it. And what happened is that the continuous improvement that we want to have, that we want to see in the teams, did not happen. So okay, we're executing our jobs, we're doing fine, and that's it. There was no improvement. It was just like a stable team. We're doing what we do, and we are not being challenged to look for different ways, or we're not being challenged for maybe pairing up more. So we kept that so that team was kind of a mediocre state, and it stayed there.
So tell us a little bit more now that you look back and you've, of course, have a lot of more teams that you've helped in your past, and you've seen many different patterns. What do you think leads teams with rotating Scrum Master to, as you say, think of the Scrum Master as an admin role? And the reason why I ask this question is that I know that it's not only teams that have a rotating Scrum Master that think of Scrum Master as an admin role. Like, there's many teams that fall into that anti-pattern. So what do you think in that particular case and in general might lead teams to think of the Scrum Master as an admin role?
Do you mean what the impact of that is, or?
No. What makes them think even that that's a good idea? Like, why is it that teams end up thinking, some teams at least, end up thinking that, Scrum Master is just an admin role, so let's take it as such?
Mhm. Yeah, I think the reason that they think it that way because they don't know anything. They don't know it differently. They don't know what the value of a Scrum Master can be. Imagine yourself in a team where everything is going okay, we're doing our job, and we're delivering stuff. Right? We are delivering done increments. So there's nobody from the outside who is telling you or challenging you or signaling, hey, this could be better. So you kind of expect, or you kind of, so you're staying in this stable state. And okay, yeah, we do have a Scrum Master. That is great for the administration, or that is great for facilitating the events. And people think that's all we can get out of that role because they don't know it differently. What we do try to discuss in many locations or in many situations or many conference talks are about, okay, we have a Scrum Master. What is the value of a Scrum Master? A good Scrum Master can make a whole world of difference from having a mediocre team to a high-performing team. But if you are comfortable in your mediocre team and you don't feel like you need to improve or anything, yeah, then you'll just stay in that state.
So maybe from this conversation, one of the things that I take is that the Scrum Master's role is to help the teams realize that whatever the status quo is, it really just is one step towards a better direction. And that we, as teams, we should be focusing on finding and removing impediments, but also finding and improving on things that might be working, but we know we can make them work better. So it's a little bit like a change catalyst, right? So Scrum Master brings this perspective that no matter where we are, we can always get better.
Yeah.
But that, of course, presents a difficult question for us as Scrum Masters, which I guess we will talk more about tomorrow in our change episode. But how do we bring that without creating friction and conflict?
I think a little bit of friction is okay, right? Because if you have friction, you have more discussion, you have maybe opposite opinions. So friction is not good. Is not bad. Friction is a way to get somewhere. If there's no friction, then that is like a false
harmony.
Yeah, false harmony. Thank you. Yeah. So I think it's good to have friction once in a while, or when you are starting up teams, or when you are starting an agile transformation, or starting Scrum way of working. It's good to have friction because it means that people are willing to share their concerns, or people are willing to share their thoughts, and then you can have a conversation about that, right? If you don't have that, then you will have the false idea of harmony, and that is not working for anybody. So I think it's good to have some friction.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow in our change episode, of course. So Evelien, thank you very much for sharing this story with us.
Thank you, Vasco.
Tuesday is Team Day here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. But tomorrow we talk about something that goes beyond the work we do with the teams. We will talk about how to lead change and what our guests have learned from leading and participating in change programs during their career. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.